Okay, kiddos, it's your turn again. We're going to teach you a new song. This is not one I promise you've ever heard before because Anchored in Hope just wrote it. And we wrote it just for you. And this goes along with what we've been learning in the Bible together about in the beginning that God created everything that you see. And so sing along with us. We don't have any hand motions today because we didn't put any together, and Miss Karen is delivering puppies. Isn't that exciting? And so we're just going to ask you to stand up and sing loud and clap your hands and just have a good time. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to continue on with our story of Noah. And again, in your Bibles, we're here. And if you don't have a Bible, I know I say this every week, but it's so important that you have a Bible. If you look on the screen, you'll see our website, anchored.love. You just have any adult go to that website, and there's a prayer request form. You just put down your name and your address and that you want a Bible, and I will send you one. Please, go ahead and do that, or have an adult do that. Everybody needs to have a Bible. And so we're going to pick up the story, and we're going to finish the story of Noah today. But just to recap of what we've learned the last few weeks, remember, God was unhappy with the way the world, so much sinning was going on, and it made him very unhappy. He decided to get rid of everything and start over again. And so he was going to bring this great flood to just get rid of everything, all the people, all the animals, everything on the earth, and start over again. And Noah was the only righteous man on the face of the earth at that point. That's amazing to me. And so God told Noah to build this boat. Let's remember how big this was. Remember how big this thing was. Remember, we pointed out over here, those two look like sticks. Those are people. That's two people standing there. This is a replica of what the boat that Noah was in looked like. And so God told Noah to build this boat. And remember, as he was building this boat, all his neighbors thought he was crazy because it had never rained. He wasn't anywhere near any water, and he just said, I'm going to do what God's called me to do. And so finally Noah and his 3 sons and their wives and his wife finished the boat, and God had him and all the animals and all his family get in this boat. God closed up the boat, and it began to rain, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and the water rose, and the water rose, and finally it lifted the ark. And the ark was floating, and pretty soon all you could see was ocean. Now, if you look behind me at this virtual paradise, you see the ocean, but you see the mountains sticking up out. When this happened, there was nothing, no mountains. The water had gotten so high that all the mountains were covered. All they could see was water, and everything was wiped away. And so now we're going to pick the story up. In your Bibles, it'll be on page 11. Page 11. At last the rain stopped. Slowly the water began to go down until the boat came to rest among the mountains. Noah wanted to find out if the earth was dry enough for everyone to leave the boat, and so he opened a window and let out a raven. But the raven did not come back. Noah let out a dove, but it was not yet dry enough for the dove, so it flew back, and Noah let her in again. The next time the dove flew out, she brought back a fresh green leaf from an olive tree. Then Noah knew that the earth was nearly dry. The third time the dove flew out, she did not return. Soon Noah could see dry land for himself. Then God told Noah it was time for them to all leave the boat and make a fresh start in a clean, new world. What an exciting day that was. Animals and people tumbled over one another in the rush to get out of the boat and stand on dry land again. Noah and his family laughed and shouted and ran about. Then they thanked God for keeping them safe. They built up a heap of big stones and put wood on the top and made an altar. There they could roast meat as a special thank you present to God. And as the sun broke through overhead, across the sky arched a beautiful rainbow, for God had promised Noah that he would never again flood to destroy the earth. And the rainbow was a sign for everyone to see that would he keep his promise forever and ever. Now let me show you another picture that I have. And this is a painting of what it must have looked like when Noah's ark, his boat, came to rest on the top of the mountains. And everybody got out. And you see the rainbow, boys and girls? That was God's promise that he would never, ever flood the earth again. That he would never destroy the earth with a flood again. That's what I said earlier. You should not be afraid of these stories. These stories are reminders that God has made promises to all of us to protect us, to guide us, to direct us, and to be there with us every day, side by side, walking with us. Even though we can't see him, boys and girls, we know that he is there in our hearts. Next week, we're going to pick up the story on the Tower of Babel. So go ahead and be reading in your Bibles so that we're ready to talk about the Tower of Babel next week. What an exciting story this has been for Noah. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.